how to install TrueNas on Proxmox. A couple days ago, I mentioned TrueNas in one of my shorts. If you're not following those, please go ahead and hit subscribe so you can find out about goated self-hosted services like TrueNas and Proxmox. I talked about it and I'd like to show you how to install it. We're going to be walking through the TrueNas virtual machine install, doing the disk pass-through, and then some basic setup and configuration of shares on TrueNas itself once we've actually passed this through. I'm going to be running this inside of a lab environment, but the steps should apply to physical hardware as well. Let's go ahead and get started, boys. This will be a fun one. Let's start with step one of this process and actually get TrueNas installed. So go ahead and log into your Proxmox instance. Click local, ISO images, download from URL. Then we go to google.com and we type in TrueNas Community Edition. Click the first link, click download. No thank you, I've already signed up. Then what you want to do is right click this link, copy link address, query the URL back inside of the Proxmox web UI and hit download. And just give this a few minutes to download. We'll be right back when this is completed. So the download has completed. You can go ahead and close this out. And what you want to do is create a virtual machine. We'll call this VMID 104. We'll call this TrueNas Community. We'll choose our TrueNas ISO. Make sure the guest type is Linux. Enable QEMU guest agent. Give this 64 gigs of local storage with write-through cache because technically this is on an SSD. Give this 8 threads or 4 cores. Leave your CPU type to x86. We'll give this 8192 of memory. Set it to our default network bridge and start after created. Let's go ahead and hit finish. Once the VM is booted up, you'll see this screen on your console. Hit enter to select start TrueNas installation. And just give this a few seconds to finish its boot up. When it's done booting up, you'll see this install screen. Go ahead and hit enter. Choose your installed disk. Hit yes to proceed with installation. Set your admin password for TrueNas. Allow EFI boot and give it a few minutes. After the installation is done, you should see the console screen for TrueNas setup. It'll give you your IP address for you to access the TrueNas web interface. Let's go ahead and do that. When we go to 192.168.1237 or whatever your TrueNas IP is, you'll be prompted to enter your username. So that is going to be TrueNas admin for the username, and the password is the password we set during the install. Go ahead and enter that and you'll get logged in. Now, you've installed TrueNas, but you have not set it up yet. You still need to go back to Proxmox if you are running TrueNas on Proxmox. And so to avoid the ZFS on ZFS issue, you'll first want to pass through your disks. Start by stopping your virtual machine. I've already done that. Then what you want to do is go to the shell of your Proxmox host and run an ls block. That is going to list the different hard drives on your system. You'll notice I have dev SDB and SDC available to me. You'll then want to edit the VM configuration. So we're at VM 104 for TrueNas. You do nano etc pve QEMU server and then 104.conf. You'll then want to add a line for SCSI. So we have SCSI 0. We'll do SCSI SCSI 1 SCSI 2, and you'll do /dev SDC and /dev SDB. You'll then want to make sure the VM can access the disk. You do change on root kvm /dev SDB /dev SDC, and then change permissions on that to read write for dev SDB and dev SDC. You then want to start the virtual machine. You can have a QM start 104. And when we'll go to the console of this, it should be starting up. And when we'll go to the hardware of this, you'll notice we now pass through the 2 disks. So let's wait for it to start TrueNas, and then we'll hop over to the web interface. So we're back at the TrueNas interface. Go ahead and you type in TrueNas admin and your password. When you're logged back into the TrueNas web interface, the first thing you want to do is click storage, click disks. Select these 2 disks and make sure you go ahead and wipe them. We're going to do a quick wipe, hit confirm and wipe, and then we hit close. After that, you want to go back to storage and click create pool. We'll call this storage pool 1. We are not going to enable encryption unless we do. Our layout is going to be a mirror or a stripe since we only have 2 disks. If you go with a stripe, if one of your two disks fail, you're going to lose your data. If you go with a mirror, if one of your disks fail, you get to keep your data. I'll let you make the decision on that one. Let's go with 64 gigabytes. Treat disk as minimum with number of VDEVs equals 1. Repeat the same settings for our log. It's going to be a mirror. Hit next. We do not have a spare, so hit next. We do not need a layer 2 arc, so hit next. We're going to set our metadata to mirror. Hit next. Let's set our deduplication to mirror and hit next. After that, we create our pool and we hit confirm, and we just give it a few minutes for it to process. So what we just did was created a ZFS pool. Now we have storage pool 1. With our storage pool created, we can now go in and create a data set. By default, you get one where the data set is set to your storage pool. One of the cool features about TrueNas and it running on ZFS is that you can actually create independent data sets. So if we wanted to create a data set, we will call this data set 1. Our presets are going to be generic, and we hit save. And now this data set is living on top of our storage pool. With this data set, we can do lots of different things. On top of that data set, we can then add a zvol. So we'll call this zvol 1. Go to set a size for the zvol, which is 20 gigabytes. Choose for size. You can leave for size unchecked, and then we hit that. And you'll notice we start with a ZFS pool, we create a data set, and then we have a volume on top of that zvol. Sounds very similar to setting up a file system on something like LVM. So if you're familiar with that, ZFS should be pretty comfy, boys, right? It's like LVM plus. So now on our storage pool, we've taken up 20 gigabytes of data. From there, we can take snapshots of our data set or even take snapshots of the entire pool. We can then go to shares, add a share, and then we can mount a share to our storage pool, our data set 1. Then we can call this NFS share NFS share 1. And then for networks, we can just set this to our 192.168.10/24 network. What that effectively does, it makes it so our local devices can access this NFS share. And then we make sure it starts the NFS service. Boom. Now TrueNas should be running, and we should be able to mount it in something like Proxmox. So let's go to Proxmox. This is at 1237. We can go to data center, storage, add NFS. We'll call this TrueNas. We'll point this to our TrueNas server, which is at 1237. And underneath export, you'll notice we now have data set on storage pool 1. And we'll just be able to store everything on here. And we hit add. Our permission is denied. So let's check this data set. Let's go to advanced option. A1 is set map root user to root, map group to root, security. And then you want to hit save. And let's try adding that again. There we go. Now we have that storage added. Let's go to summary. Let's give it a quick refresh here. And there we go. We now have that TrueNas share added in Proxmox. And you can do the same thing with SMB, right? But NFS is easier. This is a Linux channel, boys. Linux and Azure. Anyways, that is how you install TrueNas on Proxmox. If you are going to install it on Proxmox, you want to pass through your disk. But honestly, if you're running NAS software, I would suggest you keep that physical. Grab an old mini PC, install TrueNas, and you can just skip the steps for passing your disk through because it's going to see your disk natively. But the rest of this video is still valid. That's it, boys. That's how you install TrueNas on Proxmox. If you enjoy this content, please hit the like button. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe here on YouTube. Long form content, right? Where we do the cool shit. Otherwise, thank you for subscribing and supporting this channel. Please go ahead and check out my short section where I am doing a mini PC giveaway. You get a chance to win a mini PC with dual NICs and a Intel N100 CPU, right? Powerful enough to run pfSense, powerful enough to run Proxmox if you throw some more RAM in there, right? Good stuff. Thank you for supporting. Peace, boys. Stay blessed.